In this video, we're going to cover the only two things that you need to focus on in order to make $1 million from your AI agency. So the first question that we have to ask ourselves is, how do businesses on Earth make more money? How do companies out there like NVIDIA, like Amazon, like Walmart, all these big tech firms, and also big construction companies, any company on Earth, how do they make more money? There's only two KPIs that you really need to look at whenever it comes to business. There's a lot of vanity metrics out there. A lot of people are focused on the wrong things. If you only focus on these two things, you're going to make a lot more money and it's going to simplify your entire business. Everything else is a vanity metric. Everything that's not these two things are going to be vanity metrics. So let's talk about what a vanity metric is. So for example, right now, if you're running Facebook ads to acquire clients on your AI agency, the cost per lead is essentially just looking at if your offer is hitting the correct audience. And a lot of people look at the cost per lead because for the most part, they're thinking that a cheap cost per lead means that they'll make more money on the long term. However, if we are targeting those companies that are making $100 million a year, your cost per lead is going to be sky high, right? But your LTV and your revenue per that company like that you sign on is going to be a lot of money. You're not going to charge a company that makes $100 million a year the same as you would targeting a broke company that has no revenue. So the cost per lead is really a vanity metric. However, it really depends on your creative in terms of the cost per lead and your audience. So if a lot of qualified leads are coming in on a certain creative, we have to make sure everything else is the same. Everything else in terms of the disqualifying questions or qualifying questions will determine whether this lead is good, and you could compare that against other creatives in your campaign. This other thing is the cost per book call. So this essentially looks at if your landing page, whatever you send a lead to after they opt in as a lead, the landing page is enticing enough to convince a prospect to book in a call. So a couple other metrics that are very similar to this is basically the booking rate. So how many leads come in versus how many people actually book onto the calendar. And after that is basically cost per showed call. So how good is your pre-call nurture and how good is your show up rate? Because if your show up rate is bad, your cost per showed call is going to be very high. And there's a reason why people don't show up to calls, right? Number one, you're going to be a stranger to them. So they don't even want to show up to the call. Number two is you haven't sold them enough before the call to even motivate them to show up to the actual call. So these two things are going to be dominated by how good is your pre-call nurture sequence. So at our AI agency and at our AI software company, what we do is we have a hammer them strategy. So as soon as a lead comes in and they book in on a call, we're going to retarget all of those people with 5, 10, 20 different shorts of addressing all of their common FAQs or identity shifts in the buyer decision process in order to get them to show up to the call. So what does that kind of look like? So essentially all you have to do is you'll create 20, 30 of these short form videos and you put every single person from the Facebook ad that has booked a call with you into this audience. So it'll be a custom audience on Facebook and then you basically retarget them. And once they've seen one video, you could exclude that audience if they view 95% of that certain video. And I'll probably come out with a video on how the hammer them strategy works on a technical basis, but essentially you could think of it as retargeting all the leads, all of the booked calls with short form videos of FAQs, testimonials in order to get them to actually show up to the call. On top of that, if you really just want a free version, you could just hammer them with pre-call email sequences. So now let's talk about the only two metrics that you need to worry about in order to make your first $1 million from AI agency. The only things that we should be focused on is how do you reduce your CAC and how do you increase your LTV? I know a lot of people on this slide, they're thinking, hey, Norman, how about churn? What happens when churn goes down? Your LTV goes up, right? All of the metrics, customer retention, revenue per customer, all of that relates with either reducing your costs to acquire a customer or increase the lifetime value of a customer. So let's go over ways on how you can reduce the CAC. So basically what you can do is a better pre-call nurture, to hammer them strategies, and then you email 2 hours until every single 2 hours until the call, addressing all the FAQs and testimonials like I discussed before. And this gets them like really warm and your closing rate is going to be a lot better and they're going to actually have a higher show up rate as well. So you literally get 2 in 1. On top of that, you can also improve your appointment setting. This also increases the show up rate, and they're pre-sold for the closer. So it's basically lay down closes for the closer or for yourself if you're closing. But this will boost up a lot of the vanity metrics that in turn reduces your CAC. Third thing is better VSL or better funnel. So improve your watch time on the VSL, really pre-frame the VSL to really sell them before the call even happens, right? They need to recognize that what they're currently doing in their business is currently stopping them from getting to that XYZ per month. And having a solution like yours that you're about to offer not only will get them to their goal faster, but what happens if they don't change anything about their business, right? So that's what's going to happen in the VSL and funnel, and also in the sales presentation. You have to make them realize that if they do nothing to change their business, they're going to be stuck in the same spot. And in order to actually change their business and become that entrepreneur that's making $100 million a year, you have to do something change, or else nothing will happen in their business. The last thing is basically better retargeting. So we have to hammer them with the pre-call, and also the hammer them strategy via ads. But this could also apply for after you already sent the proposal. Let's say you can't one call close them, right? You retarget all the leads. You can also retarget all the book calls. You can also retarget everybody that's in the pending proposals that's waiting to close. So that's basically very, very bottom of funnel. Like they have already spoken with you in your team, and you just need to convince them. Because sometimes I have clients that reach out, like we didn't close them on the first call or the first week. They reach out 3 months later, they reach out 6 months later. So you have to utilize your email list, because all the spend that you put in order to actually acquire the lead, we should make the use of our lists. And you could also segment out business owners that are doing 1 million, less than 1 million, business owners 1 to 5 million, businesses 5 to 10 million, and then $10 million plus. And they really need different copy, right? Because the business owner that's currently making less than $1 million a year versus the business owner that's making $10 million a year, there's a lot of differences in their mindset and thought processes. So you really need to tailor that. But that's just getting to nitty gritty of things, right? So the next thing that you could do is basically increase LTV. So you upsell them to more services. For example, AI appointment setters, AI voice dialers, database reactivation, reputation management. You could also build out a custom solution for them on N8N or Make in order to handle like the contract signing, to be notified whenever a technician goes into a job, and then also the forms that they have to fill out afterwards, right? So that's always just upselling to more and more services, because who's going to buy more? A person that doesn't know who you are, or your existing clients already know who you are and trust you, and you've already worked with them, right? They'd rather pay you versus another AI agency they've never worked with in the past. So this is the best way to actually increase your LTV and to just really be embedded in their business. Number 2 is basically affiliate programs. So you could partner with ad agencies, cold email agencies, SEO agencies, and you could also basically run like affiliate, where if you refer a client over to ads agency or cold email agency, you take a certain cut, like 10% of the first month or 5% reoccurring, however that works with you and the partner agency. Number 3, who everybody talks about, is basically reduce churn. So it's not necessarily like in the agency space, it's not necessarily about the results, right? You should be producing good results for your clients, but it's more so also the client communication and fast value delivery, because clients want to be heard. They want to see that you're doing something. And if you have fast value delivery, they're going to see, hey, this person really cares about my company, and it's going to increase your LTV, right? And also asking them to refer their friends onto your AI agency, right? That's going to increase your LTV in general, and that's going to just bring you more customers. So if you stayed till the end of this video, I'm glad that you actually stayed to the end, because a lot of people won't actually watch the entirety of this video. But if you want me and my team to basically hold your hand throughout increasing your LTV, reducing your CAC in your AI agency so you can make more money in your AI agency, click the link down in the description and you can apply for a one-on-one program. So basically we take your hand throughout the entire process, all of our systems, sales scripts, automations, basically an AI agency in a box. See if you apply down below, and I'll catch you in the next video.